What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Shred Show Live. I am hanging out with Dustin Sheppard. You know him, you love him. Look at he's a hack guy like myself. When I have somebody that's shredding with me, plus you want to talk about shredding. This guy, we might get into some of his hobbies, but if you don't know, this guy is an absolute insane skier, right? Dustin, you're not a snowboarder, you're a skier.
No, snowboarder.
Oh, even better. We got the board behind us, ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna go do some heli boarding here, guys. If you ever experienced that, it is a rush in and of itself. But we're going to be talking about things today, ladies and gentlemen. You are not going to want to miss on. We're talking about modernization and technology, which you may be like, of course, modernization. But we're going to be talking on points that you are going to want to listen to. You're going to want to share them with your organization because it's going to impact you. We're talking about mindset for growth in this next year. And of course, we're talking about business planning. You're saying, well, wait a minute, we're into February, but guys, have you hit your goals? Are you following your plan? If not, it's time to regroup. It's time to refocus and make sure you're making it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, I don't get as pumped as I'm enthusiastic, but when I'm hanging out with Dustin, the first time I met him, he was just one of those guys that I'm like, you know what? He's down to earth. He's good people. Plus, he understands you and me. He understands us as mortgage professionals, and we're going to be sharing so much valuable content, so many valuable discussions for you guys today. Dustin, I'm so excited to have you shred with me today, brother. How are you?
I'm great, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's great to be here with you on the Shred Show and talking about the mortgage industry, the changes that we're all going through right now. It's here. It's fast and furious, and we're in it.
Dude, it is fast and furious. And before we get into so much of that, again, I know we've had you on, we've had discussed in the past, but tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been in this industry for a long time. You understand. Share a little bit about your background and how you got started in this incredible industry.
You know, I think I'm like a lot of people, you stumble your way into the mortgage industry. A family member brought me into the industry. I started as an LOA.
Nice.
Doing thank you gifts to realtors and clients and just hustling, and then from there, when got my license, started as LO, did the loan officer thing for six years before I decided I wanted to dip my toe into branch management, because I knew better than everybody and I could do it better than everybody.
Of course, dude.
It's 28 years old, man. You got the world on fire. I chose to do it in 2007, 2008. It was perfect timing.
Primo. You couldn't have timed it better, dude.
Timing to go start a branch. Made it through the downturn, took my lumps, learned a lot, and have then since, grew a large DBA branch for American Pacific, called Element Mortgage. Got offices in 5 states, about 80 employees, and then transitioned over to head of production a little over a year ago at American Pacific. So
that's such an incredible ride. You and I have a similar story. We both started as LOAs. Like, that's so much fun. Like, we both started, and you have to in this industry. So many people are like, well, I'm just going to go in as an LO. Like, and I'm just going to go, I'm going to light the world on fire. I'm going to do incredible. You got to start. You and I have both, we've done LOA. We've been an originator. We've done processing. We've done all parts of this industry, man. We understand it inside and out, which gives us such a unique view, and we're able to share some of the things that we do. If you were coming from hey, I'm just getting started in the industry and trying to share some of these things, be like, dude, who the hell do you think you are? You said you haven't taken your lumps yet. You haven't learned from the school of hard knocks. You and I went through the downturn. We know what it takes to be successful, which that's what we're talking about. You mentioned APM, American Pacific Mortgage, is doing so many great things, and we're going to be talking about that. But I want to start this because in this world that we live, we're in 2022. We're a month. All right, can you believe it? Like, we're already a month into this new year. Yeah, but modernization and technology. And again, this is something that's kind of fun for you and I, because when we started in this industry, you look at some of the LOS, the POS, and how our industry has evolved, some of the modernization, some of the technology that is making the process, not only for us as mortgage professionals, but for clients, consumers, the process is becoming easier and easier. What are some of the things that you're seeing coming up in the modernization and technology wise that you're really, really pumped for?
I think for me, you spent the last, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years hearing about the new technology coming out with the CRMs, integrations with the point of sales, all these different tools. But now there's more depth. So it may not even be new technology that you're going to expose yourself to, but it's new features within the technology and becoming more of a master at using that tool and how you implement it in your business.
Sure.
You're seeing the technology, take on more of the process too, much more of the process further up the line in the transaction too. So the point of sales are really going deep into the process now. They're not just a point of sale where you make initial contact with a lead or issue a pre-approval letter. So that's exciting. It's challenging too for originators because it can be overwhelming, right?
Oof.
They got to just take it one small bite at a time, you know?
Ooh, I want to talk about that more because sometimes we have this mentality and we hear it a lot like, oh, technology's here to take over. Like technology's here to like take our job. And it's just the opposite. You and I both know that technology is our best friend. It's here to simplify. It's here to really streamline the process. Again, not only for us as mortgage professionals, those who are in the trenches, but also for the consumer. So how do you see technology continuing to aid us in the journey of that homeownership?
I think, first of all, that narrative has to shift. If you're still having that, like, oh, technology is going to replace me, you just got to block that out. That's really not the case. We've seen that time and time again. People will keep trying. You know, some upset CEO of some tech firm in Silicon Valley will try to replace us all, but it's not going to happen.
Nah.
There's a challenge, boys. You know, good luck.
Yeah, bring it on. Me and Doug are like bring it, baby, bring it
on. No, the human element of how we engage with the consumers, the value we bring as consultants can't be replaced by technology. But if anything, it gives us back more time to be better students of the industry. What's causing the changes in the marketplace? Education to the consumer is what's number one, right?
Yep.
We lead with that, and we leverage technology to give us back the most valuable thing we have, which is time. How else can you show up for your consumers, for your referral partners? And that's where I say technology is a tool to give you back time and to give a better experience for the consumer up front so you can show up the best version of you, right?
This literally like leads into kind of where I want to guide this conversation is like mindset. You've been in this industry long enough to know like mindset and growth, and having that growth mindset is absolutely critical. You can be stuck on the things of the past. You just got to get over technology. There are companies who are going to try to take a crack at it. They're going to try to replace us, but you just got to push out. You got to have the right mindset to say, you know what, here's my lane. I know what I need to accomplish. Here's what I know I'm really, really good at. You mentioned educating the borrower. Having that type of mindset is absolutely critical. And I especially think in this next year, because already we're hearing margin compression. We're hearing, business is going down. Like, we got to be in there. We got to have the right focus. So mindset in this next year, Dustin, I think that is absolutely one of those critical elements, whether you're a large business, bank, broker, whoever you are, or in the trenches, in the weeds as an originator. Mindset is everything. What are your thoughts on mindset this next year?
Having gone through, 2007, 2008, right? That was a big learning point for me to just block out the noise, right? Like the business, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. I can't control that, but how I show up every day and how I play to win, I can control. And the minute I chose to block out all the noise, and I wasn't going to like explodometer.com. Remember that?
Yeah, dude, I do remember that one.
This market is no different. Like anytime there's a transition, there's a little bit of fear and anxiety that comes in, and it can either own you or it can motivate you.
Exactly.
And what are you doing to get out in front of the competition, to protect your referral partner relationships, to get out there and educate more consumers? It's a race, and you got to play it to win. And so have a little bit of resolve. Set some goals, something that's attainable, measurable, create some accountability, whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether it's another loan officer sitting 10 feet away, hold each other accountable, have some fun with it, and meet on a regular basis and get out there and start pushing forward.
I kind of want to touch on that because we're still at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we're a few days into February already, which is, but I want to talk about this a little bit too, because all of us going into a new year, we always have this business plan. Hopefully we put some, some goals in place. We're like, yes, we're going to crush 2022. But then, like you said, you hear all the noise. You start getting this fear factor of like, oh my gosh, like, am I doing the right things? Am I, should I be doing this? I like to call it the shiny object syndrome in this industry. Like, oh no, I need to go do this. I need to go do this. Oh, this new tool, this new technology. Oh, I heard somebody's doing this. Sometimes we get so scattered, which pushes us off. We had planned. We set our goals in place, but sometimes we get pushed off of those. Sometimes we get, for whatever reason, we get distracted. You talked about having a plan, having an accountability partner, having a coach, being that you've done this, and again, being in the role that you are now. How critical is that? How critical is it staying to your plan and having somebody that really can keep you accountable?
So I would say I absolutely wouldn't be where I'm at today without planning being
Huh.
such a critical part of my life, and not just professional, but personal. I'm like an obsessive planner, and my
Sure.
mentors have taught me that over the years. I've sought out coaches that have helped me refine my skill sets with planning. And I think whether you have a plan that you look at once a year, or you're never had a plan, you need to start, and you need to, and there's no better time than the present. You got to get one today. If you don't have a plan, and at American Pacific, we make sure every one of our loan officers has a template for a business plan. Every one of our branch managers has a template for a business plan, and then we provide resources to help them go deeper with the plan as well. So I'll just say this: like, planning for me has evolved over the years, from a one-page document to something that is an extensive document that I use as a roadmap when I get off course.
Yeah.
Because I get off course just like everybody else. I'm guilty of the shiny object or life getting in the way, but I look at it as a business plan, as a roadmap back. It's, the path to success or reaching a goal is very rarely a straight line. It's got a lot of twists and turns. And so if you have something that is kind of you're measuring how you're progressing, where the twists and turns are, ultimately you'll get to that end destination, but you're going to have a roadmap to get there. And you got to look at it on a regular basis. If you do a one and done business plan every year, you're kind of kidding yourself. If you're not looking at it weekly, I think you're doing yourself a disservice.
You 100% hit the nail on the head here. Now, you mentioned something too that I want to dive a little bit deeper into, because you mentioned American Pacific Mortgage really kind of setting that precedence, giving the tools necessary. A lot of the chatter that I see going on in groups, in particular, a lot of the the loan officer groups that I see, is this, and it happens every few years, just when things get scary, people start to look at like, oh, is the grass greener? Like, oh, am I like, should I make a shift now? I always warn people of this, because again, you and I have seen it. You and I have gone through a few of these, like these shifts. These, again, we get a mindset, or we get distracted and like, oh, is the grass greener? If you're going to make a shift, if you're going to make a change, make sure you're looking at an organization that does have your best. They actually do have a plan, because I hear a lot of people too. And again, a lot of people know I've been a broker for years. I've been on the banking side, but as our industry evolves and change, partnering yourselves with an organization like American Pacific, who actually, again, they've tested themselves. They've proved themselves through the test of time, but they also have like a roadmap. Like you said, they have a plan. If you're unsure and you're needing, maybe that's the type of person you are, you need a little bit more guidance. You need a little bit more plan. You need a little bit more structure. Having somebody that you can partner with, and again, it's already set in place for you, could literally make or break 2022. What are your thoughts?
I think there's a lot of great companies out there. And I think there's a lot of companies that talk about their training or their planning resources. Make them show you. Right? Like, make them show you. We're going to put it out there for you to see. We'll get you the plan. We'll get you the tools you need to succeed. We'll put our money where our mouth is. I mean, a week ago, I was visiting two of our top branches and going into deep dive business planning with the leaders of that company, those branches, to help them scale. Like, it's spent 4 days traveling to just go really deep in their plans to help them for the next 2 years of planning. Wow. So it's what we do. Growth is in our DNA. It's who we are. We want to see loan officers need to treat themselves like a business. There's no reason, like, if it's good for a corporation or a branch, it is the same rules apply for any originator. You are a business within a business, and you really need to look at your plan for success. And you got to be the company that wants to hear your plan and support your plan, because I absolutely would not be where I'm at today without the support of my goals and my plan. So you have to have that, we affectionately call it our chassis here at American Pacific. It's built for growth. It's whatever version of growth you want, right? And it's our job to tuck in behind that, put some wind in those sails, and make it happen for our loan officers and branch managers.
I think you mentioned something there, Dustin, that is so critically important for the future of our industry. Is it doesn't matter, again, broker, banker, whoever you are, you have to treat your business like a business. Sometimes we get people who are just coming in and they're trying just to, trying to run it as as whatever you want to call it, but you have to treat it like a business. You have to have a plan yourself, and you have to have an organization behind you, like you said, that's supporting you. That's not only championing. I think championing like efforts is great, like giving the attaboys, but you have to be self-motivated. I think that's what the biggest shift for you and I and our entire industry is going to see this year. The people in the industries or in the companies that succeed in our industry are the people who are self-motivated. Again, so you have to be part of a great organization who can help you get there, but there needs to be some self-motivation. There needs to be a little bit of drive. There needs to be a little bit of hustle, because things are going to get difficult. Again, you and I saw those, like, and there are factors. We cannot control the market. All we can control is that what we can control. Focus on those things and make sure you're part of an organization and part of a company that, again, they're there for you, but get self-motivated. What helps you get self-motivated? Like, I'm intrigued. What really helps Dustin Sheppard? Again, because you've gone through this, what gets you motivated?
You know, I do a lot of reading. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I was, listening to my JRE on the way in this morning.
Nice, let's go.
Yeah, talking about a little jiu-jitsu and getting uncomfortable. I've got a martial arts background. I've been training since I was 5 years old in some form of martial arts, and I like to be. I'm a human being. I'm like anybody else. When you get in those really uncomfortable spots, there's that gut check. But I like to push through that. That's a good place for me to be. And that kind of stuff just motivates me in all aspects of my life. My daughters are a huge motivation for me. My wife, those are like, I'm anchored in my why. I will tell you that. Like part of my business planning is also life planning. And I think the two need to be cohesive. They need to support each other. And so, and there's so many great companies out there for coaching and resources around this. I'm a huge Building Champions fan. I told you I was going to do a ton of endorsements, but I love me some Building Champions and how they support originators. Those guys have a mortgage background, and they have really helped me grow as a human being as well as a professional. And so Building Champions, Echelon Front, those guys, Jocko's group, like
Jocko, dude,
put yourself with people that are going to challenge you.
Dude.
That's what pushes me, right? Because I have to look myself in the mirror if I'm not living up to it.
Dude, 100%. And like you said, sometimes we get so focused on, but this is why I love these conversations from leaders like yourself, is because we do. It's so, again, we're in the weeds of the business, but there's so much more to life and to business than just business all the time. How are we improving ourselves? Who are the communities and the groups that we're surrounding ourselves with? And for each of us is different. Maybe Jocko Willink and his organization isn't what you need. Maybe that is too much for you. But for guys like you and I, like, that's what we want. That's what we need. Plus, guys, I'm just telling you this. If you ever run into Dustin at an event, like, this is not a guy you want to piss off, because he's gonna take you down. Like,
no.
If I'm ever chilling with Dustin, if I'm at an event, I want Dustin by my side, because this is the guy that's like, we're going toe to toe with some but I'm just kidding. But I'm a
lover, man. I'm a lover.
He is. He's a big teddy bear. Don't let him scare you. You mentioned your why. This is something that I love talking about. And so many people, like, they glaze over, like, oh, of course your why. But that is so fundamental. I think, again, sometimes we get focused on business. We get so focused on the weeds that sometimes we forget about really what's driving us. Like you said, your daughters, my kids, there's so many reasons why. Some of the things you enjoy, you're going to be doing some snowboarding. We have to find those elements of our personal life to really drive the factors of why. Again, our business, I love telling people, our business is not easy. This is not an easy profession. If you do it the right way, there's ways to streamline it and make it simpler, but this is by no means is an easy business. You have to find that foundation and that why.
Yeah, it's a grind. And if you don't, the business planning and the life planning is to give yourself a roadmap for success in business, but also success in life, and making sure you're planning some moments to recharge and revisit your why, and why do you do what you do, and put in the long hours and go through the ups and downs of the industry. For me, I've had to get more and more disciplined over the years with how I time block, even in my personal life. Like, it's whether it's recharging at the gym, just kind of on the daily, or it's, scheduling things out ahead so that I don't look back and 9 months later, I'm like, man, I haven't taken a couple days off with my kids. And this next market is going to challenge that too, because you've got to double down. If you want to do what you did in 2020 and 2021, there's a lot of people that I've heard say, over the last, 3 or 4 months talking about planning. They're like, yeah, I want to make more and I want to do less. I don't know that that's a formula that works in 2022. So yeah, you're going to have to grind a little bit more to achieve the same level of success in 2021 and 2022.
Right.
But you can still be deliberate about making sure you don't burn yourself out. That is one of the things I hate to see in our industry. Loan officers who are just phenomenal originators, but they burn out. We've all seen it, right?
Yep.
They come in, they go so hard, and it's something I spent a lot of time with my originators talking about. It's like, set a pace. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You got to set a pace that you can sustain for a career.
Right.
And so I think mentally for people going into 2022, be aware of that. Ask yourself if this is a sustainable pace for yourself and for your family and the things that matter to you, your health, all those things. So
this is something, I mean, literally you and I could go another hour just on this, like this subject in particular, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with in our industry. Both you and I, like, we know there are times, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just hearing what Dustin said, go back and listen to the last 2 minutes again, because there are times both you and I have experienced, Dustin, where you got to put your head down and you're going to be working some long hours. Like, you're going to be grinding. You're
right now, man. I'm grinding.
Like, that is just part, like, the hustle is real. That doesn't mean you want to burn yourself out, but there are times where, again, if you've been in this business for any period of time, you know, you got to make hay while the sun is shining. Like, and this is one of those times where you just have to focus. You have to kiss your wife and your kids and say, hey, I'm in the hustle right now. I'm going to be here. You know that I love you. I'm going to find that time. But right now it's go time. Daddy or mom's going to be at work. We're going to be busting our ass. We're going to be making this happen. Just know, I hear those conversations. I've been seeing those conversations in the group, Dustin, like, I want to make more. I want to spend time more time with family. I'm going to take more vacations this year. And you guys like you and I are like, oh, golly, like, great, spend time. But please, like, because it's those people in 3 or 4 months, as you and I have seen that roller coaster, they're going to be the ones like, oh no, like, what do I do? Like, what do I need to be doing? What happened? Like, everything sucks. And then they blame it on the rest of the world. And it's like, nah, like, we're responsible for us. You mentioned it. You can control what you can control. Don't worry about anything else. Like, that subject is something that you and I, that may be a whole nother discussion for us, because that is one of those things. You and I have seen it in this industry. Don't let this take you out, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let that mindset in particular, if that's the way you're thinking, now's the time to get your head down, get focused, and go all in.
Yeah, we were chatting with our leadership team over the last week. A bunch of us are been hitting, the Lenders One and a couple of the other big events and the MBAs out in Nashville. But there's a lot of people think that they're going to hold serve. A lot of people think they're going to hold serve in 2022. And some will. And there's going to be a lot of losers in that race too, man. And for every originator, for every branch manager, for every company that's out there, it's like, yeah, we're going to hold serve. Okay. What are you doing? How are you going to make that happen? And so it'll be interesting. I think there's going to be a separation of the pack.
I do. I think 2022 in particular we're going to see some separation. And again, we're sharing this while Dustin and I, we're not trying to invoke fear. We're not trying to say, hey, it's going to be you, but we're sharing this because unless you're the one who's willing to, step up, make the changes, get in the right mindset, you will be those ones. You will see that separation from the pack, and we don't want you to. We want to see you thrive. We want to see everybody succeed and take this and really start putting the plans in place to make the changes. So Dustin, we've surpassed our time. You've been absolutely incredibly generous. I'm so excited. Every time you and I get together, I know we're going to have future conversations, having you back on the show as our industry continues to evolve, as technology, as modernization. Just because, again, you're somebody who understands it so perfectly. Like you said, you go to these events, you hear the conversations, and you're just so willing to share. You're so willing to be an open book. And coming from your background, you're willing to say, guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we need to be doing if we want to succeed as an industry. So you're absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks so much for sharing all that you did. You're absolutely brilliant, man. I appreciate you.
Josh, you're too kind, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Look forward to doing this again soon. I'll send you some pics jumping out of that heli in a couple weeks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share that with you guys. You guys better be keeping an eye on Dustin. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have fun out there. Be safe, brother. And again, I really appreciate you hanging out with us. And all of you that joined us today, we appreciate you guys being here, taking your time out of your busy day to come and shred with us, to learn, to grow, to get better. That is what this show, that's what we focus on. We want to help you have your best year ever. And it is discussions like we had with Dustin today that are going to help you get there. With that, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.